everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. This is the raw reaction after Inter Miami's 3-1 victory over the Seattle Sounders. A little bit of good, clean redemption. I'm your host, Scotty. I'm joined by my co-host, Saur. I give you the first word. How did you feel about that game? Please tell me I'm not on mute for all of that.
No, you weren't on mute.
Okay.
I heard every single word. I was just trying to figure out what my first words are going to be, and you ruined it. I told you, 3-1. I told you it was going to be 3-1. For all the negativity, all the being in the depths of hell and not feeling good about this team, I think you nailed the entire conjecture about Seattle not showing up. That was definitely the case. And I think Inter Miami, there was no other way. We had to win. Inter Miami, for their part, played very, very well. Not a perfect game. I think it also had to do with the opponent not showing up, but you can only play the opponent that's in front of you. And for their part, Inter Miami did very, very well. A lot of players had a fantastic game, in my opinion. Players who weren't performing over the last couple of games stepped up. The midfield looked a lot more balanced. Everyone was clicking in the middle. We were winning the second balls. We were ahead of them, a lot sharper, and some really good goals. I told you Alba was going to be key in anything that Inter Miami tries to create offensively. That's exactly what happened. Lionel Messi getting a goal and an assist, breaking his mini drought, as Taylor Twellman loved to remind us a few times. Ian Frey scoring his only way that he knows how to score. That's through a corner and a header. And I thought a great performance, exactly what Inter Miami needed, and a feel-good factor to it. Thank God we needed that.
Yeah, feel-good factor. I think this went exactly how I expected it to. I just humidity, September, heat, travel. They played 3 days ago on Saturday. I just didn't think there's any way Seattle was going to come into this game really with a lot of intensity or energy. And I think that's how they beat Inter Miami so comfortably in that last game. It wasn't that they had some sort of quality advantage. It was that, in part our best players didn't show up, but also they brought an intensity that I just didn't think they were going to be able to match today. So I'm not surprised Inter Miami didn't win this game, but I'm not surprised that they won this game. I'm not surprised Seattle didn't play particularly well. I am very happy that Jordi Alba looked great. Lionel Messi looked really good. Some nice performances. And I think you said it best. Feel good. It's a feel-good game. We're going to play DC United at home this weekend. And, we could win that game 4-1. We could win that game 2-1. And there's like a way it'll feel good. And there's a way it'll be like, phew. And then there's a way that there was no way it was going to be like, we're back. But now that you've won this game, if you can pick up 3 points on the weekend, you can start to get on a little bit of a roll here. You can start to think, okay, maybe we can build some momentum into this final stretch and going into the playoffs. And I thought if they didn't win tonight, the Supporter Shield was probably going to be out of the conversation for Inter Miami, so they get that. And then ultimately, the guys played well for the most part. We got a debutante from Matteo Silvetti. I'm sure we'll get to him at some point. Cello came on, and I don't think he's played a ton lately.
Stank up the place. I already got my hair in that flew north. I'm sorry.
No arguments. The midfield was fine. I thought we saw another kind of underwhelming performance from Rodrigo de Paul, but I thought Busquets and Yannick Bright were pretty good.
I actually disagree on that point. I thought Rodrigo de Paul linked up really, really well. May not have had the most phenomenal performance. I don't think he stood out like Messi would or Alba would, but I still think he was a key factor in making sure that midfield clicked. And honestly, at this point, I would take that. It needs to go step by step. There was definitely some issues in the midfield that we've seen over the last few games. I think positioning was one of them. Deploying individuals in certain positions was one of them. And I think today it linked up fantastic. It connected well. And I don't want to take away from the good performance that a lot of these players had. May not have looked flashy, but I think DePaul did a lot of the underrated work, in my opinion. And I think his corners are way better than what Messi delivers, because he delivered two really sharp, difficult to defend corners, and we got a goal on one of them. So I want to compliment DePaul's performance and not underplay it. Um, but yeah, I'll let you go through the rest of the team. Just wanted to stop there for a second.
Yeah, we can come back to that tomorrow after the rewatch. He does get an assist on the Ian Frey goal, which was interesting because that seems like it's the first time this season we've put a ball into the box on a corner and actually scored on it. It's not something we've taken advantage of. Inter Miami has a few set piece goals this year from, some of the tacky, tricky things they do. That ball to Jordi Alba at the top of the post is the top of the box is sort of like the breadwinner, I guess. But
No.
it
It's
was
the
kind of nice.
Olympico, is the short corner, or is the Jordi Alba out the box?
And the Jordi Alba is the only one that ever scores a goal. So it was nice to actually get a set piece goal a couple of moments early. They get on the scoreboard in the 12th minute. I thought that was huge. If they had given up a goal in the first 15 minutes, I think this game would go way different. They got to halftime with a clean sheet, 2 goals, 2-goal lead, and so you feel good going into halftime. And then getting into the second half, you can kind of slow the game down and make sure you're not overexhausting yourself while the other team's trying to get back into it because there weren't substitutes off the bench to really come in and make a difference. So, I mean, this is how you draw it up, I think.
Very professional performance from Inter Miami. I think there might be people who will get carried away with the result, might be people who try to underplay the result, but I think it was very important to win tonight. If you lost this game or even drew this game, it would have been disaster. But also, if you got a result, I don't think anybody's saying Inter Miami is back. There's a lot of effort that we need to put in to make sure we continue over the course of the next 7 games. But you play the opponent that's in front of you, and Inter Miami had a job to do without a lot of key players. And I think the game plan was drawn very, very well. A lot of very professional, above average performances from a lot of players on this team. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from this game.
Can I make a characterization? You tell me if you think this is right. You shouldn't underrate the result, but don't overrate the performance.
Absolutely.
It was a fine performance. I don't think it says a ton about what this team is going to do moving forward, but the result keeps everything alive in a really healthy and exciting way, and it can give you the boost that might lead to something really nice. That's sort of maybe how I'm thinking about it.
I'll caveat it. I think it was a good win. I don't know. From what I can sense with the way you're talking about it, you're not very impressed with how Inter Miami played, and that's fine. But I thought it was a really good win. Maybe you change your mind when you rewatch it, but
I just don't think this game means Inter Miami's back to being like
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not where I'm getting at either. But I think you have to commend the performance when it's a good performance. I think I'm very happy that Inter Miami won. This could have gone a completely different direction. And I thought for more than 70, 80 minutes, Inter Miami was completely dominant in this game. And listen, I'm not getting carried away. I'm not saying Inter Miami's back or whatever. There's still 6 games, 7 games to go now. But it's been a long while since we've seen Inter Miami perform so comfortably and have such control in the game. And I'm not going to be cynical, but we're allowed to enjoy the game. We're allowed to enjoy the win.
You are not going to say we're back, but as we pivot to the chat, cynical Will, he says, "We back!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Janet says, "Revenge is a dish best served pink." Let's stop on that one for a second because this team lost to Seattle 2.5 weeks ago, right before the international break. It was not a particularly pretty game. They had some no-shows, I will say, in that final. The final score looked a little uglier because of the last 10 minutes, and then the post-game shenanigans were certainly not a good look for Inter Miami. So in terms of redemption, in terms of getting a win against that team, and not just a win, but a comfortable, good, clean, you're the better team type of win, how does that make you feel?
Of course, winning the Leagues Cup would have been definitely my cherry on top. So I don't think this was a revenge as such, but we showed that was. I don't think so. I think a lot happened in that specific game that disappointed me, both on the pitch and off the pitch. This does show, though, that there's a life in this Inter Miami team, and we could have easily beaten that Seattle team if the conditions were in our favor on that particular day. And if they weren't in, like, they played beyond their means and we played below our means. That's why we lost. Today, I think there was parity across the board.
The Okay, how much of it is because we were at home versus on the road in the last game? I know we are sort of leaning towards it would be really nice to have home field advantage in the playoffs. But like I look at this game and Seattle's probably a better team than they were 2.5 weeks ago because they've got some guys back healthy. I know they were a little rotated today, and I think that did show up, especially that right back spot with Alex Roldan resting and Cosa Rienzi coming in starting on that side. But it's a huge change from a 3-0 loss to a 3-1 win because you're at home. I don't know. What do you think?
And that just goes to show that's the nature of the MLS, right? At the end of the day, we played an MLS team. We had to travel all the way to the West Coast, so that's what it was. But I think I'm beyond that game, so I just want to focus on this game. But I agree with you on this point that traveling is definitely an issue. This is a great game, I think, for Inter Miami to have gotten back to winning ways.
Cynical says Silvetti has got the spark, and Elmer says Silvetti looks good. I want to start. I need to start. He looked like a very young 19-year-old just trying to have an impact, and I love the confidence, but I don't know if I saw anything in this game that makes me think he's going to be a superstar. But I am glad that we got to see him, that he's healthy, and that he doesn't look like he's afraid of anything. What'd you think of Silvetti?
I liked his performance. I actually really enjoyed his performance. He had a couple of really good moments with Messi. He was, you know what I thought to myself? Silvetti is what people think Baltazar is.
Come on, dude. It's been 10 minutes.
No, trust me on this. I liked what I saw from him, and that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I don't want to, I certainly don't want to rain on him because he did what he was supposed to do. Like, I'm even happy he went and took that shot.
Listen, man, we've been watching Allende stink the place up for the last 4 months. And I think this goes to show that when a player gets the opportunity, he actually created more opportunities than Allende has in the last 5 games.
Well, probably factually not true. But what I will say is he was doing it against a team that was pushing forward. They were putting numbers forward. They were a little loose in the midfield. It was easy to get him the ball. Like, my point is just hold the ropes. I want to see what he looks like in 30 minutes next game. That's all. That's all I want to say. Lynn says, look at Silvetti linking up with Messi. I like him. Pepto says, only turf can defeat this team. Miami's the best team ever.
It does hurt, man. Inter Miami's style is such that turf does come into play for sure.
Gabriella says, finally, Ian Frey in the box with a goal. What do you think of Ian Frey tonight?
I thought he was really good. Very, very good. One of the better players on the pitch for sure. Some really silky touches, some great taking the pressure off the ball. He had a tough going against their winger, whose name I can't pronounce for the life of me. Manunga. And I thought he held his own for large parts. Sometimes got rinsed, but I thought overall
he did not get rinsed. He got beat a couple times.
Yeah.
But he also made some nice recoveries.
Exactly.
And I think when you saw Cello come on, if you were watching Ian Frey, you could be like, okay, I think he could have done better defensively there. Like maybe there's a cleaner touch there. But then you see Cello come on, you're like, oh yeah, that's what it could be. Let's stick with Ian.
But also, I would really, really like to compliment Ian Frey's heading ability. That was a really good header. It wasn't an easy header. And I know we were a man up, but it was a good header.
He had another one earlier in the game that forced a save out of Stephen Fry as well. The Devinit says, good palate cleanser. Still have to learn to win away from home, but tonight was needed.
I love that. I love that phrase. Palate cleanser is absolutely spot on.
Janice says, tired legs, but I'm pleased with our performance and defending. Marcelo says, let's go. Hannes says, Silvetti is cooking. Suarez and Allende, clown emoji. Tired legs, especially in the second half. I think that's something we're going to have to really pay attention to over the next couple games because the bench is there's just nothing on the bench.
I genuinely thought Inter Miami was going to fall off a cliff in that second half. And Taylor Twellman makes me believe that Inter Miami is just going to crumble into nothingness with the way he commentates. You talk about color commentators, he is so poor with that. And I thought it was actually going to go quite badly for Inter Miami once Seattle got the first goal. But again, compliments to the team. Harvey Marciano made a couple of really good changes. They stuck in there, slowed the game down a lot. And I think that kind of maybe is feeding into our mood of not being too excited about how the game ended. But I think over the course of the 70 minutes, Inter Miami was very, very professional and a very good game.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of the goal that we allowed, what did you think of that one? It felt like Obed Vargas was sort of just kind of roaming beyond the midfield. And so I'm sort of thinking there was no midfielder in place to make that run with him. But at the same time, maybe there should have been. Cello maybe was on the back post, should have sort of tried to close down on the closer defender. I don't know. What did you think of that last goal that Inter Miami did give up?
Lujan got beat with a nutmeg.
Yeah, okay. But that happens sometimes. There shouldn't be an open runner inside the 6
He should have closed his man down. But that's actually the way Inter Miami has conceded probably 9 of their last 10 goals, with an open runner through the midfield. And I think that comes with tired legs. If Inter Miami pushes too high up, they don't have the legs to recover back, or one of the defenders just gets pulled out of position. I'll have to rewatch it to understand exactly what went wrong there. But we've conceded that goal so many times this season. I'm not even surprised that's how it happened.
No, I'm not surprised either.
Yeah.
Lynn says Messi's coming back into form at last. I mean, he was just not good for like 2 whole games, dude. It was a nightmare, and he was back. He actually missed I don't want to call it a sitter, but he was.
No, he could have had he could have had a hat trick or 4 goals tonight. He hit the post once.
The first one where he hits the post, it would have gone on his highlight reel of like, look how easy I can make defenders look stupid. And then he hits the post, and then it turns into nothing. He had another one. He had 2 more that were pretty nice saves by Stefan Fry, and then, of course, he does get the goal, which was a great assist by Jordi Alba. And then he gets an assist to Jordi Alba. Like, we weren't worried about Messi at all. So I don't know if this is like a relief to you, but I mean, we win the game because of his contributions.
No, I'm not worried about it at all.
Oh man, a lot of people are getting excited about Silvetti. It was 10 minutes against a team that was pushing forward. I just want everyone to remember that. Now,
can I expedite to a couple of comments?
Hold on. Before you do, I will say, if you want to give him 90 minutes instead of Allende on Saturday night, I'm fine. I have no problem with that. Okay, go ahead.
So Tunde says, and I'm jumping all the way across, but I really want to get to this comment. Is there a chance we are being too fickle? 2 hours ago, doom and gloom. Now all rainbow and sunshine. Another defeat, and we're back in place again. And Upcode replies, this is the bipolar pink dialogue. It's very simple, guys. Last episode, I was ultra optimistic. I thought Inter Miami could do it, and we were horrendous. This episode, we were doom and gloom. We were sad,
I don't think I was
pessimistic, skeptical.
I said we were going to win this game the whole time.
I was up until my prediction. And guess what? Inter Miami won. So from now on, that's what you're going to get. We're going into the game just completely depressed, and then we're coming out of it with all 3 points. That's the only solution.
You know what, though? I was pretty confident we were going to win this game in the pregame show, and here I am, like, downplaying it.
Yeah,
you were a little negative, and now you're super excited. So maybe that's right. Maybe that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Marcelo says Silvetti seems very promising. Seems ready to read the field very well, making good connections with Messi. And then Tunde says, Saur, you nailed it on the score prediction, and you did. So congratulations to you. Bizret says they played well, pressed Seattle to mistakes and capitalized. Seattle did not show up at all. Seattle was just a totally different team. And there's so many reasons, but...
No, Seattle was the team that they would normally be against a team like Inter Miami. This would be a regular performance from Inter Miami if things were going the way they should have gone. It would not have been that easy for Seattle to actually play against us The Leagues Cup final was, I think, an anomaly of a performance. They were obviously motivated. They were playing at home. There was a lot going in their favor, and they put on a fantastic performance. But I think they overachieved that game. And I think this game, it was more, okay, this is what, if Inter Miami turns it up, this is what it would look like against a team like Seattle. This is what it should look like against a team like Seattle.
What I will say is if we play this team again this year, it would be in the MLS Cup final, and I wouldn't want to play that game in Seattle.
Yeah.
Ash says that the defenders clear the ball when under pressure like they did today. We will win more games than not. That is, I think this team sometimes does try too hard to play out from the back, and it becomes unnecessary sometimes. But they did a good job of that today. Elmer says, the only downside I see is Frey not being able to last more than 70 minutes. He always looks gassed after 60 minutes. I will just tell you, Ian Frey may look gassed, but he always has a little extra in the tank. So I've seen him make plenty of plays in the stoppage time to contribute to the team. So I'm not worried about that. I think that was just giving Cello minutes.
Yeah, I'm okay giving Cello minutes and taking Ian Frey off when you're 3-0 up. That's fine to me, I think.
Yeah. Pepto says, having a left winger on Messi's wavelength opened up the attack, and that's in reference to Matteo Silvetti. Well, what I will say is I have long been a proponent of having a quality left winger opposite Messi, and that is why I so frequently advocated for Robert Taylor's game time over the last 2 years, or up until his trade.
Can I make a statement that might be more palatable to you?
Sure.
I think a player like Baltazar or Silvetti is more suited to how this Inter Miami team can get better. We need pure wingers on the wings.
Well, let me ask you a question. What happens when Segovia comes back and you go back to a 4-4-2 with Allende and Segovia on both sides?
We'll go back to playing the way we were playing over the last 5 games. Inter Miami doesn't look good with... Yeah, last 5 games. Inter Miami doesn't look good with 2 midfielders playing in, or one midfielder and one Allende playing in the positions that they're playing.
So what you're saying is you want to see a 4-3-3?
I would want to see a 4-3-3 with outright wingers, and
which is not what we saw tonight, by the way.
No. But I think that's how you get the best out of this Inter Miami squad. You need pure wingers. They just beat
Seattle 3-1 with the back 3-5-2.
That's fine. It is what it is. I'm just saying, in my opinion,
okay, so
the way you get the best out of this team
I want to play this out.
Wingers. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to play this out. You're a back 4. You didn't like the back 3 tonight.
It wasn't a back 3. We never played a back 3. No.
It was absolutely back 3.
We were playing Noah Allen as a left back and Jordi Alba as a left wing. What are you on about, mate? What are you on about?
Josue says Saur hit it on the spot. Jordi would be the reason if Inter Miami won or lost. And that is true. Jordi was fantastic today. What are your thoughts on him?
No, I really liked his performance. I said it. He was the one who's going to make or break our offense because we didn't have anybody else to create those opportunities. And I think Jordi Alba did really well in that position.
No, I mean, not just that. He scores a goal. He gets an assist. It was a nice shot through the arm of Stephen Fry to power it through. I thought that Stephen Fry made the save on that one. And getting the early goal, I think, unlocked Inter Miami in a way that Inter Miami hasn't done a lot lately. Getting an early goal, building some early confidence, not conceding first. MSP in the chat in the pregame show was betting people $50 that Inter Miami was going to concede first. And so for Jordi Alba to put the ball in the back of the net right away, I think was huge for Inter Miami to sort of calmly, confidently, and as you said, professionally see this game through.
Also, I just checked Noah Allen's heat map, and it was 100% a 4-4-2. It was not a back 3.
Okay. Janina says, DePaul had a good game. Well, I'll rewatch the game. Lamar says Yannick Bray was a beast. What did you think of his performance following up what I think you didn't consider was a great performance on Saturday night?
Brilliant comeback. I think exactly how you respond. And I told you, I think Bright is the kind of player who would absolutely do better than what he did, I think, on Saturday. Charlotte was a really poor performance, and today he was one of the best players on the pitch. Helped create 2 opportunities, and in their faces, in the middle, And I thought played more of a destroyer role that, in fact, he hasn't been playing much of. So absolutely loved it.
He was getting forward a lot, though. I mean,
That's been him this season.
it is, but that's what we were talking about in the pregame show of wanting to see him be like a little
More
bit more
six, yeah.
reserved, not in his play style, but in the structure of the system. But yeah, I thought he was good tonight. Like being able to get forward and being a part of ball progression, and also being a defensive like menace. Like he balanced that really well. Bizrat says, I am players were motivated. They played with purpose. If only they did this every week. Did you think there was a mental edge for Inter Miami in this game that we're not normally used to seeing?
I think I've seen them play with a lot more bite actually. Today it was fine. It was a professional performance. It looked like they knew they had a job to do and they went about doing that job. It wasn't like they were absolutely killing Seattle on the pitch. They could have, if Messi had scored 3 of those opportunities, this would have been a 6-0 win. But I think they did what they had to do. It wasn't like a killer instinct by any means. Again, a good performance, not a fantastic, flashy performance, but a great performance.
Yeah, it was like what you would expect them to be, you know? It wasn't over the top. It wasn't fantastic. It was like, this is what they can be if they play well.
Here's the thing. You're treating that as a matter of fact, which is fine. But for me, we haven't seen them do that in a while. So it's nice to see us just have a win where we're just professional about it, calm, comfortable, a moment or two of squeaky bum time, but the rest of it was like, yeah, we're in control of this game. So, yes, this is what it should look like, but it hasn't looked like that. So, I think we should be complimentary of this team when they're able to get back to winning ways.
Nick Smith says Cello turned it over 45 times. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip that. I hear what you're saying. We've seen this team play well so many times over the last 2.5 years. And I get what you're saying. The last 2 or 3 games have not been that. But it's just still like my expectation for this team. And I don't think them playing like this was them playing like the best team in CONCACAF. This was just like a good Inter Miami performance. It wasn't special. And it's certainly from a mental perspective. It didn't feel like there was an intensity. It didn't feel like there was we have to go get every single ball. But
trust me, man, if you had watched that Charlotte game, your expectations would be so low right now that this would feel like a great performance to you. Trust me.
Perhaps. Nick Smith says Cello turned it over 45 times in 20 minutes. It's a new record. He had 4 turnovers on 16 touches, and he also got a foul.
I think this is probably the first time I'm going to give Heron that flew north to a player who's been substituted in. I don't think any other player was bad, but he was horrendous.
Yeah. But, I want before we pile on him, just like I would have said with Noah Allen or some of the other guys, he has not played a ton of ball lately. He's probably not in the best form. He wasn't really in good form when he left. So, Inter Miami got a 3-1 win. I don't want to crucify him, but of course, I'm always happy to give someone the hair that flew north. Tunde says, happy we won. It shows exactly what this team is up and down, can win on their day, can get demolished the next. Bizrat says breaking the losing streak is very important. Mario says he loves the Noah Allen, Jordi Alba strategy. I concede. Jordi Alba, left mid, whatever you want to call it. Noah Allen, left back. I see you're shaking your head no.
Don't want to see that too many times. That can't be a feature. That can be okay, we need bodies, we'll use this, but please do not rely on Jordi Alba to play left wing. I think it's an imbalance that we got away with today, and I thought Jordi Alba played really well, but we've seen that look really bad in a lot of games. So I think it's a tactic that you can use when you don't have the numbers, but there's a way that you get the best out of this team by not having Jordi Alba as a left winger.
Yeah, it's weird because it didn't, it was good. It was really good tonight. And Jordi Alba's the reason we won this game because he was allowed to go play that high role. But I agree with you. I think this is like the first time we've ever seen it be really, really effective. But I don't know. Javier Mascherano has seen something work once and then ran it back in the next game. So I think we might see it again on Saturday.
And the difference here is because Jordi Alba was playing left wing, we weren't actually playing a traditional 4-4-2. He was playing a little bit in the middle from time to time, but he was pushing up a lot more than our regular 4-4-2 formation that we've employed, than Segovia would push. And that's why I'm saying if you want to play Segovia as that third left winger in a 4-3-3, sorry, you have him tuck in and allow Jordi Alba to overlap him.
Yeah. Yeah. Jerry says, I hope Noah stays back as last year to free up Alba. You can see the possibilities of Messi combining with Silvetti. Add Baldassar if healthy, and it adds a flavor. Like the way Messi plays at home. And says, good grief, Scotty. What actually makes you happy?
That's a good question.
It's My Memo says, Nuhu gets the Messi jersey. Hope he won't trade it for Paul Rothrock jersey.
That is the
pretty
comment of the day. That is the comment of the day. Love that.
That's pretty good. Elmer says the left side winger from Seattle was cooking the whole game. He was so fast. That's Manungu. He's not even a starter for them, but he earned the penalty that killed the Leagues Cup final. Listen, that's a very deep team. They have some of their best players missing. Pedro de la Vega, Kent, a couple like good players that are going to come back this season for them. And even off the bench, we didn't see Alex Roldan, Reed Baker Whiting, Danny Leyva. These are guys that helped them win the trophy. So, that's a good team. Upcoat says Scotty's a Donnie Downer. Alex says, I believe we are back. Akinlaha says, Mascherano is a very lucky coach. I wish I had such an easy job. Is there something to be said for the fact that Mascherano had absolutely no decisions to be made in the starting 11 other than Ian Fraver's cello, and the team looked really, really good?
Hey, he got that Ian Frey versus cello decision correct, so give him that.
Yeah. Josue says, where was Rothrock today? Just defensively, the whole team. They did what they had to do.
Dare I say, even Lujan had a great game or a fine game.
Great, but they had, No, Maxi
No, he
Falcone,
did. He did actually. No, we
I thought Maxi
criticized him a
Falcone was
lot.
good. I thought Lujan was good. They did what they had to do. I wanted to go rewatch the goal. I'm sure there's a midfielder that probably should be in there. I don't know. It might be Yannick Bright. It might be Chelo Wagon. It might be Gonzalo Lujan. I have to rewatch the whole play. But aside from that moment, they didn't give up obvious chances. Seattle had a moment, a couple shots from outside the box that weren't threatening. Their other big chance of the game was when Noah Allen kind of tries to clear it and it gets blocked by Rothrock, and then Falcone has to sort of body him into a shot right at Ustadi, who makes the save. So, they did what they had to do. Akinlaha says, did you see Silvetti today? Definitely my best player on the pitch. Messi wasn't even close. Great goal, though.
Now they're just teasing you, man.
I hope so.
I love the chat.
Luis says, solid win today. Honestly, we needed this confidence boost.
Correct.
Jerry says, give me Silvetti and Baldassar together with Messi and Alba and Segovia versus Busi. This team will menace MLS. Busi can't run. He needs rest. Man, that's a lot of confidence in the guys that have not played a ton of soccer.
No, if I had actually constructed this team, if I was the one responsible for Inter Miami, Segovia would actually be a backup to Messi or a backup midfielder. That's how I would have actually.
You're just going to leave it at that?
I'm going to leave it at that.
You're going to explain that at all?
No, I think Segovia is a fantastic player, probably ready to start in every other MLS team. But I think he's being forced into this team. The best way to get the most out of every single player on this team is to have traditional wingers, Suarez as your front man, Lionel Messi as either a right winger or left or a number 10, and then you can have Segovia back him up when necessary, and in certain games even start Segovia when you need to. But I don't think forcing Segovia into a 4-4-2 is getting the best out of everyone. I think this team needs to play a 4-3-3 and then try to fit Segovia in there, whether it's by pushing Lionel Messi to the right wing or having Segovia as that number 10. Like there's ways in which I would play this. The 4-4-2 doesn't suit us. The 4-3-3 with Segovia as the winger maybe could work. I thought it worked much better than this 4-4-2. But yeah, I think in an ideal world, maybe last season, Segovia would have been a backup to Messi or another midfielder.
Well, he would have been what Matías Rojas was, which is
Yeah.
a guy that played a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, I think I'd drop Rodrigo de Paul before I drop Velasco Segovia, but just based on recent performances. Tunde says in the playoffs, if we can roll ahead on the 50-50 on 4 games, we can win this, but I won't fall into the trap this team sets. I don't think he's got a lot of confidence in this team really coming together over the last course, the final course of the season. I guess that's my point when I said don't get too high on this performance.
There's so many games to go, man. So many games to go.
This wasn't the game where it was like Inter Miami is clicking on all cylinders, and it doesn't matter who comes in front of them; they're just going to whip them.
No.
That's not what this was.
Absolutely not.
And that is sort of my point on not getting too high on this performance. It was a good win. It was a needed win, but it wasn't like a
blow him out of the
back.
park win. Yeah.
We're back kind of win. Jerry says one minor tweak by Necessary showed why Alba needs to play there. Silvetti has a faster burst than Baltasar, and he showed he is fearless. Lynn says, Scotty, your glass isn't half full. It's 5% full. Hey, only 95% empty, though. Upcode says, could you imagine if we actually had subs this game? It would be 6-1.
Actually, could have been 6-1 without the subs.
I don't want to be Taylor Twellman. No. I don't want to be Taylor Twellman.
No, Taylor Twellman would have said Seattle was in this up until the 90th minute, and if they had scored one more goal, they'd be one more goal closer to drawing with Inter Miami. That's what he would have said.
Yeah, well, here we go. Ash says Taylor Twellman will throw hands if he hears you.
Listen, man, I can take Taylor Twellman on, okay?
I don't think you can.
I think I can.
PG says Mascherano doesn't rate Morales at all. Do you want to talk about the subs at all? Because we get Cello Weigant, which makes sense because you have a 3-goal lead. Cello is a first-team player. Get him some minutes. And then we get Silvetti for 10 minutes. And I would kind of assume that's all, or I guess 15 if you include stoppage time. Like, I think that's what he was good for. He hasn't played in months. I don't think he was really ready for 45 minutes or 65 or whatever. Would you have wanted to see something different?
I think we could have been a little bit more adventurous in bringing maybe Santi Morales or Pinter on for like the last 5 minutes. But I can understand why Javi Mascherano didn't, and I'm okay with it. I don't think it was too controversial of a decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think he rates Santi, and
This
it is
man
what it is.
doesn't bring on players who can easily be starters. He doesn't utilize the subs the way or trust his subs the way other coaches do. So I can understand why he didn't do that.
CV says it's Mascherano's curse. We win 1 game or 2 games in a row, but then lose very badly after winning for a few times in a row. I mean, this is exactly, I can just tell you what's going to happen. They're going to beat DC United. They're going to look really good. It's going to be 4-0, 4-1, something like that. And we're going to be thinking to ourselves, man, maybe they've got something here. Then they're going to go to NYCFC and have the most frustrating draw imaginable. And we're going to be right back here. The script is written, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tunde says, I'm a Scotty on this one. I think Allende is just so bad we're desperate to see someone else just kick a ball because I don't think Silvetti did anything particularly eye-catching today. It's my man Tunde right there. Kinlaha says, bittersweet to be honest. I want Inter Miami to win, but I want Mascherano gone. Even I could do his job. Should we talk about Mascherano for a minute? Because I think he's gone no matter what.
If we win the MLS Cup.
I think he should be gone.
No. You changed your sentence.
You're right. I did. You're right. I did.
You added a
You're
conditional
right. I
in
did.
there, which is not what you said initially. So I will call you out, Your Honor. Repeat your sentence.
I think he should be gone, no matter what.
I agree with you. I think he should be gone now or tomorrow or yesterday. But I don't think he'll go if we win the MLS Cup. There's still a life there.
Yeah, okay. Summer Sunshine says Silveti's great promise. I want to see him starting. Great game, very proud, and we won without players on the bench. Jerry says you see Busquets rest by playing Segovia. Keep Noah back, keep Alba free, give Messi, Silvetti, and Baltasar in Miami. Will destroy MLS teams. Josue says Toto Aviles and Toto Silvetti craving yellow cards.
First action, straight in, no hesitation.
Can I just say, this is just a personal rant. I hate it getting a yellow card in that situation as a referee to a kid that clearly is a teenager getting his debut. He's overzealous. He's overexcited. He knew the half second he did it that it was a dumb mistake. No one got hurt from it. There is no reason to give that kid a yellow card. Just walk up to him, tell him to take a deep breath, and move on. Because, anyways. Nick Smith says Lujan's name wasn't called all day today. That's a positive. I thought Lujan was solid. Like did everything you could want from him in this game.
Good.
Okay. Rabbit, elephant in the room. Luis Suarez is coming back after Saturday night. How do you fit him back into this team? Do you fit him back into this team? And I'm asking you.
No, I would.
Because I think a lot of the comments on Saturday night were like, oh, actually, we do need Suarez. He makes a big difference. How are you feeling about that now?
No, I would still bring him back straight into the fold. Number 9. We're struggling, man. Allende has been useless in that role. And if Suarez does half of what Allende is doing, he's already contributing more. No, Suarez is, regardless of the jokes, I think Suarez is crucial to the way this offense works. And I would bring him straight back in.
But that's the spot instead of Silvetti.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think Silvetti starts.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all taking a deep breath.
Oh, yeah. I think he had a great performance. I'm not saying he's going to start the games.
Jerry says the big X factor, big factor on this team is going to be that if we surround enough players with Messi playing in the playoffs, Argentina-style football, he will feel very, very comfortable. I have no comment on that. Age says we should have gotten more subs on the field. We need to work on our depth by letting kids play when we're up. I guess, we're getting towards the end of the chat here. So Daniel Pinter, he gets his moment. I don't really know if there was an opportunity or reason to bring him onto the field in this game, especially once Seattle scored the one goal that can make it sort of a game. If they score a goal in the 91st minute, you're sweating out the final 5 minutes. You don't want a kid that's never played, aside from 12 minutes the other night. But Santi Morales, where are you at with him?
I think he should get more minutes on this team. Over the course of the entire season, he should have been utilized more. I would have used him as the Leo Afonso of this team, especially that you let Leo Afonso go. That's how I would use him. Bring him on in the last 10 minutes of games. I think he adds some spark. He showed that in the preseason, and we've barely seen him since.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ready yet.
But that's how you test him, right? You got to test him at least. Give him some minutes.
Yeah. He's got to show in training, and I have no idea if he is or not. I'm not saying he's not. I have no idea. And if he is, I hope I would hope it would reflect in his minutes. Okay, so let's wrap it up there. Final thoughts. Inter Miami gets a 3-1 victory over the Seattle Sounders. It was a must-win game if they wanted to have, keep hopes alive of winning the Eastern Conference, Supporters Shield, all that stuff. They get the result. It was pretty dominant, pretty comfortable, pretty professional. Not a lot of scary moments in this game. What are your final thoughts?
Back to winning base, baby. Okay, I butchered that. I'm gonna say that again. Back to winning base. Butchered that again. I'm gonna say that again. Back to winning ways, baby. Okay, thank you.
Back to winning ways, baby. Yes, I think we need 3 more before I'll be a believer.
No,
if they can
important
win,
absolutely.
they
Needed
can win
this,
at-
absolutely.
if they can win at New York City FC, I will be a believer in this team. But until I see that with my own 2 eyes, I will keep believing this is the same team we've seen all season.
If we beat New York City FC, we're winning the lot. We're winning the MLS Cup and we're winning the Supporters Shield.
I will shave my head if they beat NYCFC. On the
No,
road
I
at
feel
Citi
like
Field.
you already have like an idea that you're going to shave your head. That's why you're saying that. Otherwise, I would make this bet right now, live on this podcast.
Okay, fine, no bet. They play DC. Okay, fine. DC United this Saturday. We will be back 1 hour before kick. No, sorry, we'll be back tomorrow for the post-game recap. We'll rewatch it, do awards, all that good stuff. But until then, I hope you guys have a lovely night. Enjoy this 3-1 victory, and we will see you guys next time. And by the way, thank you for not burning the popcorn. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.